Good afternoon or good evening or what time zone you're watching this. This is Angel in the Afternoon. I'm Angel Rivera alongside my esteemed panel this week, Miss Witchy Perfect and Alex Knight. So we are about 13 days away from Christmas. So hope everybody's enjoying their holidays or whatever you celebrate.
It said that Snow Himbo was coming on, but he's not coming on, is
Oh, no,
No,
no.
yes,
I probably
that's the
forgot
only
to
difference.
yeah.
That's the only difference. But other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. So hope everyone's had a great week. We got plenty to talk about this week.
he? Did you see the
From
Game Awards last night, Angel?
I checked out some of it, not a bunch of it. But I was busy
The
trying
show
to.
started off so well. There's so many great reveals, and you may have seen the tweets that I shared in the groups
Yeah,
last week. But the last
yeah,
reveal, you would think it'd be such a big reveal for the last reveal, but it was fucking shit. It was so like I don't know what they were thinking. It was another shitty free to play multiplayer shooter that no one cared for. I don't know why they did that. And
oh,
my reaction to the Game Awards, like you know, in the nutshell is, for the beginning, like it was banger after banger after banger, but then for the ending, it was burger after burger after burger.
there
Drew
you go.
McIntyre, eh?
Well, yeah. Well,
But
I
man, that,
mean,
that new Divinity game, I'm really excited for because Baldur's Gate 3 is such an amazing game. So,
yeah, I
uh,
checked out some of it. Not the whole thing, but yeah. So we we got a lot to talk about this week. From Trump and probably more likely Rubio want full control of Latin America. So it's the Monroe Doctrine on steroids. We're also going to discuss the Honduras election crisis, where the U.S. has allegedly interfered in that election as well, trying to elect another right wing Javier Milei in Honduras. See how well that turned out in Argentina. We'll get to that as well. We have new Epstein file releases. So we're also going to get to first, actually. And
we can also talk
let's
about how Jasmine Crockett's already running a horrible campaign.
yeah, that her first ad was terrible, but
Well, not just
we
that,
also
but just the other stuff she's doing. It's just like, what are you doing?
yeah, we're also gonna get to ICE using an obscure 9/11 rule to keep illegal immigrants, detained permanently. Uh, we're also gonna talk about the Supreme Court giving the U.S. presidency even more power, most likely. But we're also update Venezuela and Israel and Russia, Ukraine. There's so many different wars going on that I forget them, honestly. So we're gonna also update those things and so much more. So if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe. I see that we are at 3 likes so far. Can we get up to 30 this week? We're 5 likes actually.
Wait,
So can
wasn't
we
it that we were gonna get up to like what 49? Was that the number or
40?
40.
40? Yeah, okay.
We're also live on Substack. So if you guys want to check out the show on Substack, I already put the link in the chat. So, but yeah, I figured we get started with the new Epstein file release with a friend of the show and the network, Dissent and Bloom, writing about it. So, Epstein files new photos released by House Oversight Committee. So it was released earlier today. The House Oversight Committee has released 19 more photos from the Epstein case, including photos of Clinton, Bubba, Trump, um, Bannon, Woody Allen, and more.
Woody
So,
Allen's that famous actor, right?
yeah,
Well, actor,
director,
comedian. Yeah.
Yeah.
comedian, director, yeah.
Well, we all know
Um,
he's a pedophile because he married his ex-wife's stepdaughter or something. He married his
n-
stepdaughter, I think.
Oh my
And
yeah.
he was messing with her while she was like
And I wonder
14,
if Jerry's.
15.
I wonder if Jerry Seinfeld's in these files as well.
I would
Um,
doubt it.
don't know. He's a big Zionist, though. Um, the people, places, and things. So, of course, Descent and Bloom get started with Donald Trump. These are new photos of Trump in the Epstein files. Of course, it wouldn't be an Epstein file release without more incriminating evidence against the sitting president and close Epstein frenemy, Donald J. Trump.
I told you so. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
A bunch of looks like young girls there, even though their faces are blotted out. But
They're probably all under 18.
here's Trump with Jeffrey Epstein and some other girl there. I don't know who it is. So, but they seem more interested in something going on behind her. So here's Trump with an unknown redacted female. So we don't know who this woman is, but this was also in the files.
So he's a pedophile in chief, huh?
Let's get to Bubba. Here's new pictures of Bubba with Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and I don't know who these two are. Printed photograph: Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and what appears to be Bill Clinton's autograph. So allegedly, this is his autograph here. This is his signature when he was president. So it looks similar. This.
I'm not a pedophile. As
here's
binocular would
here's Woody Allen here. So this is Woody Allen with Jeffrey Epstein. Looks like at a movie set. As you can see him with the camera there, and here's looks like that's Woody Allen with Epstein and some woman there who also had her face redacted. Here's Woody Allen with Steve Bannon. Looks like, yep. So there's Steve Bannon there with Woody Allen. So we got Dean Kamen and Senior and Richard Branson. So
I think it might be Sir,
Dean
because I don't think he's
Sir Richard Branson.
I
I forgot he got
knighted.
Yeah, he was knighted. Yeah. Dean Kamen is an American engineer. Like the other men in the photo, he's the owner of a private island, North Dumpling Island in New York. He's best known for inventing the Segway. So there's Epstein with Richard Branson. I'm guessing this is Dean Kamen, whatever. Sir Richard Branson is a British business magnate, billionaire, even a commercial astronaut. He's a founder of Virgin Group, a conglomerate that controls over 400 companies in multiple fields, including travel, Virgin Atlantic, cell phone, Virgin Wireless, music, Virgin Records, even spaceflight, Virgin Galactic. Branson owns Necker Island and Mosquito Island in the British Virgin Islands, which are located
you know they're doing a whole bunch of trafficking there.
Relatively close to Jeffrey Epstein's little St. James Island.
Don't be surprised if GTA 6 has references to pedophiles or something like that, or maybe even features pedophiles.
Between the three men in this photo, they all own private islands. I can't help but wonder what is happening on these islands of Branson came in.
What do you think? Worst case scenario is that they're literally just fucking them there. Even the best case scenario is literally they're trafficking kids and sending them to these islands because they can't send them to Jeffrey Epstein island anymore. Just because Jeffrey Epstein is dead doesn't mean they stop the enterprise.
Yeah, a much larger set of Department of Justice files are required by law to be released around December 19, 2025, under the newly passed Epstein Files Transparency Act. I will keep an eye out for these as soon as they drop. So I'll be subscribe to Descent and Bloom on Substack because she's doing an excellent job covering this. So friend of the show, friend of the network as well. Here's Larry Summers, or AKA, and so. Larry Summers, a longtime member of the elite economic power circles. He ran the Treasury Department for Bill Clinton and later shaped policy inside the White House as Obama's National Economic Council director. So he's a big Democrat economic bigwig. So that's Larry Summers there. Looks like Woody Allen again and some other.
I think. Well, that might be Woody Allen, but I think that's Bill Gates.
Well,
looks like Bill Gates.
It could be Bill Gates. What else it says here? Larry Summers, a female not yet identified, and Epstein are seen in one of Epstein's private files. Claims Larry does not appear or as he expected to be photographed.
So no, that's Epstein.
That's Larry Summers there. This is Epstein apparently, because it looks like Bill Gates though in that photo. Though.
It kind of does. Now see Bill Gates.
Let's get to Bill Gates. A framed photograph of Bill Gates is seen in the Epstein estate. So This is it right there. Here is this arrow here. This is Bill Gates. Wonder if you're framed on Epstein's mansion. It's not a good sign for you. This is Bill Gates. On the right is Epstein associate and pedophile Prince Andrew. Their facial expressions say everything. So that's Prince Andrew there. And that's Bill Gates on the left. So the date is unknown, so we don't know when this photo was taken. But here is Bill Gates with looks like a pilot. Bill Gates and one of the unnamed private pilots in front of Epstein's private plane. So he's one of Epstein's
Told
pilots.
ya, Bill Gates was a pedophile too. Everything I said is coming to fruition.
And that's the guy that created Microsoft.
Yeah. Let's get to Steve Bannon now. Yes, he was really good friends with Epstein. He was appointed on January 2017, Inauguration Day, having previously served as CEO of Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. He only lasted 7 months before leaving the position, but he has very close ties to Trump to this day. He's also seen as communicating with Epstein in a previously released batch of emails. He's the former executive chairman of Breitbart News. In
And a
2019,
pedophile.
he started the War Room podcast. Steve Bannon is seen photographed not only with Epstein, but with Woody Allen. And if someone looks like a pedophile, acts like a pedophile, surrounds themselves with a pedophile, well, it's pedophile. So this is Bannon with Epstein. Yeah. Here is Bannon again with Epstein.
He's literally telling him how many kids he's gonna fuck today.
There he is. There he is.
Alan Dershowitz, I said that too. I knew he was a
This
pedophile.
photograph-
So is Chomsky.
Well, he said Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile, so
Yeah, he did. He was also Epstein's personal lawyer, so not surprised that he would defend him so hardly.
Another person, Megyn Kelly. I would not be surprised if Megyn Kelly comes out. She's on the list because she's a fucking pedophile too.
yeah, especially since she didn't have a problem with like him being with like 14 or 15.
14, yeah, 14 and 15-year-olds, because they're adults too. They're just, they're almost there. They can't vote, they can't do anything else, they can't smoke, they can't drink, they can't go to war yet. That's coming. They're gonna lower that age too. Trust me, because they want your kids to die, not theirs.
If my mom had said that, yeah. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, this photo was dated around 2018, meaning this meeting occurred after Bannon had left the White House and returned to his role as Breitbart's news director. So Alan Dershowitz is an infamous lawyer and former Harvard teacher with very close ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Here, Epstein is seen as an infamous Harvard sweatshirt. Jeffrey Epstein never attended Harvard University.
He's also a Zionist.
Yep. In 2003, Epstein donated $6.5 million to Harvard to establish a program of evolutionary dynamics. This was his entry point into university social circle, including Dershowitz.
Also, don't forget, I don't know if we will get to this person as well, but don't forget recently that whoever that African American woman was in Congress, I believe, who was caught texting messages with.
That was the U.S. Virgin Islands representative. I forget her name right now. I think we already covered that. But yeah, she's also a big Epstein supporter. Her excuse, you remember, was, well, he was a constituent, and I was texting back and forth with him. I was like, really? A constituent?
So like, if that was Trump in that position, would they be defending him for that?
No. Virginia Giuffre told the world that she was trafficked to Dershowitz for sex by Jeffrey Epstein on multiple occasions, including when she was a minor. Dershowitz did not just deny the claims, he launched a massive public campaign and legal attack on Giuffre. The legal battle ended in November 2022 with a settlement that saw Giuffre drop her lawsuit against Dershowitz. The settlement did not involve any financial payment from either side. As a part of the settlement, Giuffre issued a statement acknowledging that she may have made a mistake in identifying Dershowitz because of the stress and trauma at the time.
Right, but here's the thing. Oh, hey, that's a nice house there. That's a nice family you got there, Virginia. Be a shame if something happened to it. Remember, these guys, it's like the mafia, guys. These are all fucking pedophiles, and they all literally run their gangs like the mafia. They are the mafia.
Yeah. Something happened to make her drop the case. Oh, by the way, Virginia Giuffre died of suicide in April of this year. So, rest in peace.
I'm surprised they mentioned suicide. You thought just mention something else instead of that.
Yeah. Well,
Because
these
people
are.
don't want to use that word anymore.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
she self-deleted. Right.
Yeah.
And if you believe that, I got a
So,
bridge to sell you.
so the things I don't have any comments for these. The
Oh,
photos.
that's funny. DEI, Dershowitz Evil Incorporated.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so these are different things. The jawbreaker gag,
Oh, what the
patent pending.
fuck?
Always observe a person have a gag in their mouth. Never leave that person unattended. A jawbreaker gag will cause the person's mouth to produce saliva, more saliva than a regular gag, and create a choking hazard if the person's unattended or inverted for any reason. It's possible the person to vomit or even suffocate while standing. So extreme care and caution must be exercised with use of this product. Never to follow these instructions. Failure to follow these instructions results in very serious injury or death. Never leave a person with a jawbreaker gag in their mouth unattended. You understand the risks associated with use of this product and take precautions mentioned above. So, yeah.
Also,
That's that
Michael,
company literally covering their ass. Well, it's on you if you don't do it right. Well, guess what? We're not held liable.
also Michael Tracy's probably in the list as well.
Some kind of glove. I don't know what. Oh, I do know what. No, I get it.
No.
So,
It's the glove that Triple H used when he beat up Stone Cold. you know, what I'm
Ew,
Yeah.
I don't think he fucked him in the ass with it.
yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like something that you would stick up orifices. Let's say. Looks like looks like we have some adult toys here and adult novel books and stuff and DVDs. A little weird. Trump
What?
gun for $4.50. And
Ew. Yeah, he wishes.
Oh my god.
you can verify all these photos on the House Committee website by clicking here. So this is where you actually get them. These are where the photos actually are and stuff. So you would have to click around here to find them.
I'm
But
huge.
but yeah, go subscribe to the Sense and Bloom's Substack. She does great work. Friend of the show, friend of the network. I'm going to. Oops, did I just? Yeah, I did.
Wouldn't it be
All right.
funny if it said, I'm huge, but yet it's this tiny little condom, this tiny, tiny little thing?
Uh huh.
That's
Yeah,
more the
so
reality. That's more
that's
the
her
reality.
Substack. So if you haven't already, go subscribe to her. She does great reporting and stuff. I'm gonna use more of her stuff for the show, but I just I so that was incredible. Especially those other photos with gag and the sex toy or adult toy glove. I've never seen that before. And random other adult toys and pornography and stuff. It's just
Hey,
weird.
fuck your 14-year-old today. I mean, guys, everybody in politics, in Hollywood, are all fucking pedophiles. How do I know? They all are stopping those Epstein files from actually coming out. With that stuff, we already knew. We already knew Alan Dershowitz was a pedophile. We already knew Bill Gates was a pedophile. Already knew Woody Allen was a pedophile. Stuff we already knew. Bill Clinton, he's on the flight logs. He's also on the not the client list, but the I forget what list they came out with, but he's in the little black book, for fuck's sake. This is stuff
Yeah.
we already knew. We already knew all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the update on Epstein. There's more files going to drop next week at some point because by law it has to drop by then. We'll see what happens. What type of I'll be surprised if it actually does drop. And if it does drop, I'm sure the Sense and Bloom will have an article on it, and we'll read that probably next week. That's if it drops, of course. So yeah, because we decide to cover stories like that, we are unfortunately. Oops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. So we are unfortunately been demonetized and have been for years. So if you want to get on the Wall of Fame, and you also want to help us, you can do so at those links right there. You have Cash App, cash.apps /$ Indie News Network. You can help at Kofi, kofi.com/Indie News Network, or PayPal me at /Indie News Network. I can't even read this stuff right now. I mean, that's how gross that I am. You can also go to the website, indienewsnows.com, which I assume we're live there too. Or you can sign up for a yearly subscription at Substack at indiemediatoday.com or innewsletter.com. So many ways to help and assist, and we thank you very much for the assistance. We love you guys. Fund the media you want to see, all that good stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe to this show because that's us. We're also part of the network, and why is not that going away? Still not going away. Huh. That's weird. Oh, yeah, I'm pressing on the wrong thing. There you go. Stupid. All right, so let's get to our next story now because let's see. Let's get to this one next. If you're a young person, especially, this will really apply to you. And I want you guys to check. House and the Senate agreed to make draft registration automatic. So this is from the military, an amendment to the Military Selective Service Act to direct Selective Service System (SSS) to try to register all potential draftees in the USA automatically, has been included in this versions of this year's military authorization bill, agreed to by the House and Senate Conference Committee, and likely to be enacted into law within the next few weeks.
So remember, guys, the rich want your kids to die.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Guess what? I don't care. Put me in jail. You ain't sending my son to war. If you don't like it, go suck a dick.
This is more young people, because we're almost 40, at least here on the panel, so it doesn't want to apply to me. But actually, when I was 18, I actually had to fill out a selective services. It was like a card that we had to fill out. So I was like, why have to fill this out? The draft doesn't exist anymore. Oh, yeah, by law, you have to fill this out. It's like, whatever. This is right before the Iraq War, when I turned 18. Actually, no. When the Iraq War took place? 2005, we invaded, didn't we? Or was it 03?
I think it was
03.
3. Yeah, we were 17.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's around that time when I was like, oh, shit, I'm probably going to get picked up to go to Iraq. Luckily, it never happened, but... This doesn't mean that the draft is being activated right away, or that all those automatically registered will be sent induction orders, although preparing to do so is the sole purpose of registration with or by the SSS. This will, however, be the largest change in the Selective Service law since 1980. More importantly, it will move the USA closer to activation of a draft, or at least being able to claim to be ready to activate a draft on demand of Congress and the President than at any time in the half century since the draft registration was suspended and draft forms were deactivated in 1975, right after the Vietnam War. The provision of the NDAA for automatic draft registration will take effect 1 year after the bill is signed into law. The clock will start running soon. We will only have a year to get the Military Selective Service Act repealed if we are to avert this new threat of both stepped-up preparation for a military draft and sweeping abuse of young Americans' personal information. By the way, we're not going to do anything to get that law repealed, but we can try. Potential draftees will be required to provide personal information on demand of SSS, a telling provision which wouldn't be needed if they could actually be identified and located automatically, since it's impossible to tell which messages demanding information are actually from the SSS. Identity thieves and other scammers will undoubtedly step up their use of fraudulent messages purporting to be from SSS as a way to trick recipients into providing personal information, visiting phishing websites, or installing malware. The proposal for automatic draft registration predates the Trump 2.0 regime and its Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE. The idea of automatic draft registration originated within the SSS during the Biden administration and was introduced by Congress by a Democrat. Watch the Democrats try to blame Trump for this, even though Biden started the process. But a database-driven process aligns perfectly with DOGE's penchant for aggregation, automated mismatching, weaponization, and misuse of data from unrelated government and commercial sources. The SSS already knows who needs to register, supporters contend. According to one report on the decision by the House and Senate conference, that's not true. Whether an individual is subject to a U.S. draft depends on, among other factors, their sex as assigned as birth. Being able to deliver an induction notice by provable means requires a current postal address to which to send the certified letter. This isn't information that necessarily contained in any federal government database. U.S. citizens, other than those under court supervision after being convicted of crimes, and men 18 to 26 are required to register and report any changes of address to the SSS, are normally required to report to any federal state agencies when they change their address. The address in their Social Security record may be the address where the person lived when they first assigned a Social Security number, especially if they haven't yet claimed any Social Security benefits or had any reason or need to interact with the Social Security Administration since then. The address in IRS and other federal records for a young adult may be a parent's address and other nominal and legally valid residence, where they aren't normally present to sign for an induction notice or other mail if, for example, they are in college in another city or state. Sex assigned at birth is recorded, if at all, in a state or foreign record, not necessarily in any federal records. The state records may indicate a self-selected gender marker or non-binary or non-gendered X gender marker, whatever that means, while not all foreign countries include a gender in birth records. Whether an individual is required to register or to be registered, depending on their citizenship, immigration, visa status. To figure out who to register automatically, the SSS will have to construct a database of all males between 18 to 26 present in the United States, including non-U.S. citizens, documented or undocumented, their immigration status and their visa status, and to keep this list constantly up to date. A comprehensive list of undocumented young adult U.S. residents with their address won't be easy to construct. But even an error-filled and incomplete version of such a list would be highly vulnerable to abuse by any other federal agencies that will be able to obtain it form from the SSS.
I'll be right back.
Okay. The automatic registration process will be intrusive and error-prone, and the list will be highly vulnerable to misuse. The burden of information collection and the potential for weaponization of the list will be the greatest for already vulnerable transgender, non-binary, and immigrant youth. These are the people the SSS is likely to misgender, misregister, and or need to interrogate individually to fill in the gaps in current federal data. The automatic registration law will grant the SSS sweeping authority to require any other federal agency to provide the SSS with information that the director of the SSS determines necessary to identify or register a person subject to registration under this section. The idea of trying to construct a complete and accurate list of all draft age men and their current contact information solely by aggregating and matching existing federal databases compiled for other purposes was a response from the SSS to growing public and congressional recognition that the current self-registration system is an abject failure in the face of pervasive noncompliance. Few young men voluntarily register for the SSS, and almost none of them report their new address to the SSS each time they move. As a result, the current SSS database is so incomplete and inaccurate that it would be less than unsafe for an actual draft, according to testimony in 2019 by the former SSS director, who managed the establishment of the current system in 1980. The obvious congressional response would be to end the registration and abolish the selective service system as a failure and unfit for stated purpose, even if one supports the draft. But neither Democrats or Republicans seems willing to let go of their fantasies of always having a draft ready to activate as a fallback so they can plan for endless, unlimited wars without having to worry about whether enough Americans are willing to fight them. Keeping conscription on a hair trigger, like keeping nuclear weapons on a hair trigger, allows the weapon to be used as part of an arsenal of U.S. military threats. Both have bipartisan support. Well, of course they do, because they want to plan for endless wars, and they need American young bodies, most likely poor, to fight those wars and be cannon fodder.
They want your kids to die, and while their kids can just sit around and suck dick all day.
Mm-hmm.
How many is that right now?
I don't know. The SSS staff came up with the idea of automatic registration in a last-ditch effort to justify the continued existence of the agency and save their jobs. The SSS pitched the still sketchy concept to Congress and persuaded Representative Chrissy Houlihan Democrat of Pennsylvania, to introduce in 2024 as an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2025. The proposal has never had a hearing or been subjected to fiscal review as a part of SSS budget. In 2024, the proposal for automatic draft registration was initially approved by both the House and the Senate, but removed from the final version of the NDAA during House and Senate conference negotiations. Conference meetings are secret, and no explanation was given for why this provision was removed. It was reintroduced as an amendment in this year's NDAA, approved by the House, although not at first by the Senate, and finally included in the version reported by the House and Senate Conference Committee. See Section 535, pages 361 to 365. By the way, I saw that bill. It's like 3,000 pages long.
Yes.
Who's going to read a 3,000-page bill? Not even most of Congress reads these bills, by the way. I guarantee you, ask a member of Congress what's in that bill. They have no clue because they didn't read it. Nobody in Washington reads these bills. They just pass them, and the president signs them. They have no idea what's in them, and they're shocked to find out what's law. It's like, what? That's actually part of the law. It's like, didn't you read the bill or your staff did? It's like, no. Like a 3,000-page bill. That's like 3 Bibles, put together. Let's see. How the SSS would try to fulfill this new mandate left the regulations to be promulgated after the bill signed into law. New regulations for automatic draft registration may be combined with updating and revisions of the SSS regulations that are planned under the Biden administration that can ready for issuance earlier this year, but has been delayed by Trump's freeze on most new regulations. Trump will unfreeze those regulations for the SSS, so that's a near guarantee. There's no way that, because Trump is also pro-war, wants to, plan for permanent wars and new wars, like we're going to talk about Venezuela a little bit later. Before they can put its automatic database-driven draft registration system into effect, the SSS will have to provide opportunities for public to comment on and obtain approval from the Office of Management and Budget for information collection, forms, systems of records, and computer matching programs. These notices should provide additional information on how the system will operate and what other ways the information collected will be misused. But the SSS and DOJ has a track record of playing fast and loose with the requirements of the Privacy Act, the Computer Matching Act, and the Paperwork Reduction Act. Return addresses on emails and caller ID and robocalls and text messages, even for .gov addresses on phone numbers, are trivially easy to forge. The automatic registration system and the requirement to respond to requests from SSS for personal information won't take effect until a year after the bill is signed into law. For now, all emails and text messages or phone calls claiming to be from SSS are presumptively fraudulent. Say nothing, hang up immediately. Delete these messages unread. And don't click on any links or visit any websites in these messages. Links in those messages are likely to contain malware. For the next year to 2026, my advice is facing draft registration remains unchanged. If you don't want to get drafted, don't register and work to repeal draft registration. Even once the automatic draft registration law takes place, you can and probably should ignore any communication from the SSS, except to certify later you have to sign or a message personally delivered by an FBI agent or a federal marshal serving a subpoena. Don't sign for any letters from the SSS or say anything to the FBI other than go away, I don't want to talk to you without my lawyer. Nobody's gotten a certified letter from the SSS or been investigated by the FBI for not registering with the SSS for decades. But if this does happen, say nothing, sign nothing, and contact a lawyer with expertise in the selective service law immediately. To prosecute anyone for failing to respond to a request for information from SSS, the government would need to prove to a jury beyond reasonable doubt that you would have provided proper notice, including the notice required by Paperwork Reduction Act that you knowingly and willfully refused to provide the requested and required information. The threat of prosecution for failing to provide information to SSS about as hollow as the current empty threats by the SSS are prosecuting for failing to register. This is really long. I don't really read this, but you get the point. They're trying to get young people to basically be cannon fodder for the United States empire new wars, which most likely be in Venezuela and up and down Latin America, because they try to interfere in the Honduras election. We'll get to that. We'll get to Venezuela. Trump has also been posturing for war against Colombia somehow. So my nephew is 18. He about to turn 19 next year. So he definitely would have to be forced to register for this. Let's see. So thoughts, concerns.
Nothing really. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I already said what I said. You ain't taking my son, and I don't care. You can go suck a dick.
Well, there's ways to avoid that. So yeah, let's see. Let's get to this one then. So the not rid of that.
oh fucking Mother Jones.
The only place that's covering this, so I kind of had to use them. Supreme Court's GOP justices are about to hand Trump way more power. They say Trump, but really it's the U.S. presidency because Trump would be gone in 4 years anyways. The court's right-wing bloc sounds ready to axe independent federal agencies and the precedents that guard them. Let's see. Oral arguments in the Supreme Court on Monday over the president's power to remove the commissioners and independent agencies left little doubt the Republican appointed justices are about to fundamentally reorder our system of government. They appear to be ready to eliminate most pocket of expertise and nonpartisanship that rely on the stewards of important economic, political, scientific, and regulatory power. They will do this if this morning's arguments are any indication without grappling with the predictable and disastrous fallouts. With the end game of their own logic or historical record of the contrary. Instead, the six Republicans appear ready to race headlong into a Trumpian future with which no agency or decision is beyond the reach of the president's political cronies. There's also, by the way, future Democratic presidents able to do this too, but Mother Jones doesn't tell you that part. You are asking us to destroy the structure of government, Sonia Sotomayor observed Monday, and to take away from Congress its ability to protect its idea that the government's better structured with some agencies that are independent. Federal Trade Commissioner Rebecca Slaughter, a Trump and Biden appointee whose case is now being before the court, sued Trump and fired her in March for not aligning with his agenda, despite his being prohibited from removing commissioners except for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office. Slaughter's case harkens to the earliest days of the Republic when Congress first created independence with limits on the president's ability to remove commissioners who run them. And in their modern incarnation, in the beginning of the late 19th century, Congress has placed these agencies in the direction of a bipartisan group of commissioners who serve set staggered terms can only be removed for cause. The goal is to create expertise and independence so some of the government's work is insulated from the abusive pool of political decision-making. 1935, a United Supreme Court case upheld for cause removal protection for independent agencies, commissioners, in a ruling known as Humphrey's executor. But since taking office in January, Trump has removed the Democratic commissioners from several of these agencies in violation of the Humphrey's executor precedent. And multiple laws seeking to eliminate their independence, he's fired Democratic commissioners of National Labor Relations Board, the Merit System Protection Board, a Consumer Product Safety Commission, and the FTC Slaughter. This is very technocratic and very boring, but let me just get through this. It wasn't a mystery where the case was heading. For years, the Roberts Court has sought to weaken and undermine Humphrey's executor, to reshape the federal government as a quasi-monarchical institution in which the president controls everything in the executive branch. This goal was intellectualized through the unitary executive theory, invention of Ronald Reagan's administration, in which Roberts and Justice Samuel Alito both served in Reagan's administration, to aggregate more power to the White House when Democrats had an unshakable hold of Congress. This year, the GOP's wings of the court had been so eager to overturn Humphrey's executor that they actually couldn't wait for the chance to issue a decision to render the precedent of nullity in practice. Thus, since Trump began firing Democratic commissioners in January, the Supreme Court has repeatedly stepped in to allow these firings to take effect while litigation over them proceeds, even though the firings clearly violated both the law and Humphrey's executor. Despite the obvious direction of the court was moving, it was still unsettling to hear justice completely unwilling to acknowledge and wrestle with the consequences of overturning a 90-year-old precedent that acts as a pillar of separation of powers and endeavors to protect key government functions from the corrosion efforts of partisan politics. Take this exchange with Elena Kagan, Solicitor General John Sauer, and Alito. Kagan kept pressing Sauer on the logical consequences of his argument that all executive power rests with the president, such that he must be able to remove anyone engaged in executive branch functions. What about the courts set up by Congress, separate from federal courts under the federal judiciary, such as tax court and the courts of federal claims? What about civil servants and government employees? Heed the more the laws protecting civil servants and other employees have not been challenged yet. I know you haven't challenged it. And the question is, blah blah blah. With this lead, do you know what it does take to you, given what your primary rationale is? Leto piped up to suggest that maybe the court should just blow up their system of government without thinking about those pesky details. Okay, I don't really care about that conversation. So the court appears poised to allow the president to take over the agencies at once and transform into political entities and preserve the independence of ones that wants to keep independence and keep words like uniquely structured and distinct historical tradition to pretend that this isn't a consequentialist, results-driven drive and hackery. On the other hand, the justice wants to embrace the logic that civil service laws violate the president's executive power. Then it will continue in this vein until it's replaced all experts and meritorious hires with cronies and nepo babies. By the way, Democrats do that too, but Mother Jones doesn't tell you that. This is really boring, and Mother Jones really technocratic writing, and I can barely understand what it says. But basically, Trump administration is trying to politicize agencies that usually are not politicized and giving the White House even more power than what it has now.
I just also want to mention, Angel, more off-season signings. Tyler Rogers. The Mets keep losing players. Tyler Rogers is gone now. He signed a 3-year, $30-something million deal with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good.
All Mets. Always happens.
We're at 13 likes right now.
You tired today, Steph? I mean, usually you're always upbeat and you always have to say something a lot.
I'm out of it. Angel knows the situation. I just yeah.
Oops.
JD Vance, a sodomy at a couch. Ooh.
Well, there you go.
Good choice of a screen name there.
Oh, the name. Okay.
Yeah, then the screen name. ICE uses obscure 9/11 rule to keep immigrants detained after they are granted bond. ICE use of automatic stay regulation blocked detainees' release after being challenged in court, with judges ruling that it violates
every Muslim is a terrorist, right?
So, it's like every Latino is somehow illegal.
Yeah.
So ICE has been using this stay rule that they got after 9/11 because basically it was used to basically keep Muslims in jail, and in that time at least not to grant them bond, even though it does violate constitutional rights, but nobody cares anymore. When Juan was granted bond on August 6th, it looked like if he would soon be freed from a Brooklyn immigration jail to return to his 6-year-old daughter, 10-month-old son, his partner, in the job at a grocery store. Since he had no criminal record and support from his church, employer, and family, the Colombian native was required to post a minimum bond of $1,500. Immigration Judge Charles Conray noted in the decision at New York's Varick Street Court that the government had submitted no evidence whatsoever that Juan posed any danger. Just a few hours later, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, had blocked his freedom by invoking a special regulation that was created a month after 9/11 attacks to prevent the release of aliens who may pose a threat to national security. Whoops. So they don't have to actually provide any evidence that that person is a threat to national security.
God. But this is going back to, I mean, I can just look at you the wrong way. Oh, you're an immigrant. I can detain you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what happened to legal immigration, Trump and his supporters?
The government doesn't have to provide any evidence to individual threats to national security, but they do anyways. They do. They just invoke it, and nobody can do anything about it. ICE has rarely resorted to this automatic stay of a judge's bond decision in the past. This 3 times in the last 5 years, from 2020 to 2024. But according to data released and documented in response to a FOIA request, that changed drastically this summer. In less than 12 weeks, from July 1st to September 16th, ICE filed to block a judge's order granting release 877 times across the country. Records from the Justice Department Executive Office Immigration Review shows 877 times. So basically, they're taking every immigrant and basically and like, yeah, don't you can't release them because we say that they're a threat to national security. Uh, this is historically. So 3 in 2015, 3 in 2016, 37 when Trump took over in 2017, 12 in 2018, 5 in 2019, 2 in 2020, 1 in 2021, 0 in 22, 23, 24, January 25, 0, February 0, March 3, April 4, May 3, June 2, 219 in July of this year, just skyrocketed. August is 478, even skyrocketed even more. In September, 180. So for all of a sudden in the summer, it just skyrocketed. These immigration holds for national security threat, even though there's no evidence for that whatsoever. Uh, this means ICE and the Department of Homeland Security now claim to have unilateral power to delay detainees' release pending appeal. It is not necessary to get approval from the judge who granted the bond or form from the Board of Immigrant Appeals. ICE only has to file a form with the court. Call it EOIR 43 with a short notice from a senior attorney that says there's a valid reason for release or for it. So all they need is to file that form with the judge with an attorney saying he's a national security threat. That's all it takes for him to stay in jail indefinitely, which is a violation of even the Magna Carta, which is like a 13th century document. Because they, let's see, in response to Trump administration aggressive use of Regulation 8 C.FR 13, that law basically, there have been at least 50 federal district rulings that in the last 6 months holding that ICE had violated detainees' constitutional rights to due process in individual cases. This heads I win, tail you lose process deprives petitioner of his due process and rights. It has no place in the law. A federal judge in Manhattan wrote a November 25th decision ordering the release of another detainee, a Salvadorian man who had been held in jail since February.
Yeah,
Raha
they've been fucking.
Jordan, yeah, an immigrant attorney with the Alameda County Public Defender's Office, published an academic study of the automatic stay regulation in 2010. She said that it wasn't surprising that federal judges have so often rejected the use of the rule. Immigration attorneys and advocates long warned about the dangers of regulation remaining in effect, and the current administration's prolific abuse of regulations validates those concerns. Federal authorities maintain that enough safeguards are built into the system to protect detainees' right to due process. My ass. They want that power, so they're gonna keep using it. Juan, documented as withholding his name due to pending asylum requests, is one of 470 immigration detainees blocked from release during the month of August after ICE attorneys used their automatic stay in jail card. He had already been jailed for 59 days, starting on June 9th with sleepless nights in the overcrowded lockup at 26 Federal Plaza, where ICE detained him when he was reported in for a check-in. So this guy, following the rules, came in for a check-in at Federal Plaza, immediately arrested, and now he's been in jail ever since. ICE is using automatic stay workaround routinely at the same time the agency issued July 8th memo that radically reinterpreted federal law to expose millions more non-citizens to mandatory detention. No opportunity for a bond hearing if they had entered the country without a visa. In technical terms, ICE has redefined who is an applicant for admission. Federal courts have ruled in 282 cases that the July 8th revision violated constitutional rights of individual detainees, the government winning on only 6 cases. Recorded in the most comprehensive ruling list available, compiled in mid-November by a federal judge in Philadelphia. The cases where detainees were getting favorable bond rulings from immigration judges, ICE filed for hundreds of automatic stays to stop the bond rulings taking effect during an appeal. These intertwined policies have contributed to a massive increase in the number of immigration detainees who give up the right to contest their deportation charges and instead request voluntary departure from the country. As previously reported, as many others have done, Juan attorneys have filed a habeas petition in federal court that challenged both prongs of the government offensive on constitutional grounds. He is ordered released from the Metropolitan Detention Center of Brooklyn on October 21st, the same day his suit was filed. A more detailed decision on November 18th found, as nearly all other judges did previously, that the government was wrong in its claim that Juan was not entitled to a bond hearing. The judge wrote that it wasn't necessary to determine if the automatic stay was unconstitutional, but many other judges have. Manhattan federal judge Vernon Broderick wrote November 25th decision. The federal district courts have ruled more than 50 times since June 2025 that ICE violated the constitutional right to due process through its use of automatic stay regulation. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan was able to point to just two rulings here for the government. One of those cases were for a detainee who the federal appeals court in Boston have since ordered released. The ruling was a victory for a Salvadorian man from Queens who identified in court only as MPL. He had been held by ICE at the Orange County Correctional Facility in Grocery for nearly 9 months by the time Broderick ordered its release. He had no criminal record in 18 years he'd been living in the United States, but the government contended he had ties to MS-13 gang while living in El Salvador. So we need something called evidence for that, which the government's like, we got nothing. We're just claiming he's MS-13. Just believe us.
Yeah, you need evidence.
Yeah, you definitely do. And it's like, well, we got nothing, Your Honor. But since we have this automatic stay, you have to listen to us, basically. The immigration judge found that ICE had offered conflicting evidence concerning the gang connection and ruled that MTL's 18 years in the United States showed he wasn't a danger. Bond was set $1,500 and the federal court restored that decision. Cases like MPL mount up. The judges are expressing frustration. The government requests that I ignore a precedent from the Supreme Court, and a case from within this district, and over 50 district court decisions in the last 6 months all over the country. Broderick wrote, I declined that invitation. Spokesman for Jay Clayton, the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, declined to comment on the case, or his office continued defense of new ICE detention policies. ICE and the Department of Homeland Security didn't respond to requests for comment. ICE lawyers have rushed to invoke the automatic stay, and Manhattan federal judge Dale Ho described the two rulings in her favor of a 23-year-old Salvadorian man. JMP, as he named federal lawsuit, had been assaulted by MS-13 gangsters who extorted money from him in his family's bakery in El Salvador. Ho wrote at the age of 14 he was convicted of attempted homicide, with nobody injured, and served 14 months in a juvenile facility. According to court records, after that, he eventually fled to the United States in 2020, age 18, to avoid further attacks. January 29th, ICE held JMP at the Orange County Jail, contending he was subject to mandatory detention because of his alleged ties to the MS-13 gang. Immigration judge denied a bond hearing, but JMP attorney files a habeas petition in federal court, leading to Judge Ho's September 10th order that he be given a bond hearing.
What?
What does kid have to do with anything?
Exactly.
Trust me, kids got pants.
With the government's insistence on mandatory detention cleared away, the immigration judge released JMP in a $15,000 bond, finding he had been a victim of gang extortion in El Salvador, not a member of MS-13. The oral ruling at 1:39 p.m. December 19th set off a bureaucratic race, court records showed. At 1:57 p.m., a fund that assists immigration detainees with bond money filed a request with ICE to accept the necessary payment. At 2:59 p.m., ICE filed the EOIR 43 form again, this time saying it intended to appeal the bond decision. This blocks JMP's release once more. JMP's lawyers went back to federal court, where Judge Ho ruled that his rights were again being violated, and ICE must release JMP once he posted the bond. Jesus Christ. The government appears to be suggesting to obtain his freedom, JMP could simply accept deportation to El Salvador, the country where he fears harm and persecution from his returns, the judges wrote.
Yeah, I mean, he literally fled that. That's why he fled for his life.
Yeah.
These people don't care. They're too busy fucking kids. Everybody in ICE, when they detain kids, they literally strip them naked and make them walk outside. Strip them naked. ICE does that. So they're nothing but a bunch of pedophiles too.
Yeah, it seems like what they're doing is they're just desperately trying to keep people in jail. This guy JMP clearly is if his claims are true, which I have no reason not to believe, it seems like he's a obvious candidate for asylum or political asylum. But they're desperately trying to deport him. Like, I don't know why.
Oh, because
It's
he's MS-13. You know, he might have
allegedly.
sort of allegedly somehow up my ass and fondle my balls. I mean, come on, this is bullshit. This is utter
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's clear that he's a candidate for political asylum, but because he's clearly, if his claims are true, which I have no reason to believe, like I said, he's definitely a candidate for political asylum. Instead of trying to deport him, instead of letting him go through the process of political
You know what's
asylum.
going to be really funny though is that if a Democrat becomes president in 2028, 29,
Yeah,
they're not going to reverse any of Trump's policies.
No, because they're going to
no, they're
keep it
not.
because they all agree with it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So that's done. Yeah, they're
See, that's the problem. They don't give a fuck about immigrants. All they want to do is detain them so they can either fuck them up the ass or deport them. And
yeah.
trust me when I say they're still trafficking kids. ICE are nothing but a bunch of pedophiles. That's one of the curricular. That's how you get hired on. Oh, you get a $50,000 bonus and you get to fuck kids. Yay!
Let's see here.
I was watching some bullshit, that stupid shit they were doing about Christy Nome or Christy. I kill dogs for no fucking reason, and she should be euthanized like her dog.
Christy Barbie.
Yeah, Christy Barbie, who I'd like to slap in the face because she literally has a punchable face. I'm dead fucking serious. Like, she has a punchable face. I literally want to punch her motherfucking lights out because it would be so satisfying to me to do that for her poor deceased dog.
I remember two listeners were saying that she looks like she looks like she's in her 20s, but sounds like she's in her 80s.
I
Yeah,
mean, she's had so much plastic surgery, I'm surprised her face hasn't caved in. Not only that,
Yeah.
she is a fucking pedophile. She literally is like, we're doing such good work. Do you like me? Do you really like me?
Remember
No, we fucking hate you, you fucking pedophile. What?
Remember when she held the gun wrong when she was posing with the?
Oh yeah, she meant to hold it like
Yeah, I
this
remember
so
that.
she could suck on it because she thinks it's a dick.
Let's see. So already, it's like I'm looking forward to when the show's over. When I have my glass of wine. I mean, this is all of this is just too much. Like,
give me some of the pain and let me die.
all right,
How much wine do you have?
I have half a bottle there.
What a writing test on Angel Rivera.
I have a glass of. I have one bottle, and I bought two more today. They're cheap over my liquor store. It's like $4.99.
Would you like some cheese with that wine?
No. Boom.
So this is from Decolonized Journalism, Arturo Dominguez, who does great work on his Substack. So if you haven't, go subscribe to him as well. Trump seeks control of Latin America. Trump issued his own corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, attempting to exercise dominion over Latin America. Oh, I forgot to like this. Here we go. So, on December 2nd, 1823, in an address to Congress, U.S. President James Monroe announced the United States institution of political order over Latin America, limiting Europe's role in the Western Hemisphere. The speech will later be expanded into what is now known as the Monroe Doctrine. This long-standing U.S. foreign policy idea has often been been weaponized to exert control over Latin America. More than 200 years later, Trump is expanding on the doctrine. The Office of the Historian Department, State Department said Monroe and the Secretary of State John Quincy Adams, who later became president as well, drew upon the foundation of American diplomatic ideals such as disentanglement from European affairs and defense of neutral rights expressed in Washington's farewell address. And Madison
Hey,
stated,
Snow Himbo's in the house. Snow
"Oh, hey,
Himbo.
Snow. For waging war in 1812, the three main concepts of the doctrine, separate spheres of influence for the Americas and Europe, non-colonization and non-intervention, were designed to signify a clear break between the New World and the autocratic realm of Europe. Monroe's administration forewarned the imperial European powers against interfering in the affairs of newly independent Latin American states or potential United States territories." Ironically, the Monroe Doctrine is supposed to keep Europe out of Latin America and trying to colonize it. Of course, we would proceed to colonize it, overthrow governments there, socialist governments there throughout the last 100 years,
I mean,
and
look what they're trying to. I'm surprised they haven't gotten Juan Guaido back into, oh, he's the president bullshit. Nobody
I'm gonna
fucking
get
knew who that dude was. Nobody. Nobody in Venezuela knew who the fucking hell that dude was. Literally. They were like, who the fuck is this? He's not our president. We elected Maduro, Nicolas Maduro.
yeah.
Hello. And they're this blows my mind because literally my dad was watching Jesse Waters this morning. I know. Don't yell at me. It's not my fault. He is a grown ass man. He can watch what he wants. But anyway, Jesse Waters was like, "Oh, Venezuela, my God, we need to go in there. We need to get rid of Nicolas Maduro. We need to salvage our freedoms." Go fuck
Yep.
yourself, you fucking pedophile, Jesse Ventura. I'm sorry, Jesse. No, Jesse Walters is a fucking pedophile who literally will propagize anybody into going to war. That's all Fox
100%.
News is good for.
And Sean Hannity.
And Sean
Yeah.
Hannity.
Sean Hannity is just a Republican propagandist. Has been for 30 years. He's been on Fox. So
Yeah.
while the non-colonization, non-intervention aspect sounds good on paper, those were directed at European nations, specifically Spain. At the time, both the U.S. and United Kingdom also created a bilateral agreement that allowed the Royal Navy to help enforce it. The goal was to push the demise of Spanish colonialism, and both countries had interest in expanding in Latin America. President Monroe made it clear the American continents are henceforth not to be considered as subject for future colonization by any European powers, except for the U.S. Empire. That's quite a caveat, one that U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt would exploit in his annual messages to Congress in 1904 and 1905. At the time, many European nations sought to use force to pressure Latin American countries to repay their debts. After the British, German, and Italian boots blockaded Venezuela's ports in 1902, many in the government feared that the power the U.S. had in the region would wane. Roosevelt exploited those fears to exact even more control over Latin America by asserting that the United States had the responsibility to preserve order and protect life and property in those countries. Theodore Roosevelt, was a huge warmonger. He couldn't wait to fight wars. Actually, literally fought in wars later on after he left the White House. So
yeah, I mean, anybody remember the Rough Riders?
Yeah, that's Roosevelt. His cousin Franklin was also a big warmonger. He couldn't wait to get into World War II. In 1904 speech, Roosevelt said, "Chronic wrongdoing may, in America as elsewhere, ultimately require intervention by some civilized nation in the Western Hemisphere. The adherence of the United States to the Monroe Doctrine may force the United States, however, to reluctantly, in flagrant cases of such wrongdoing or impotence, to exercise
Or
of the
impotence.
international police order." Yeah, it's actually impotence. I don't know what that was. It's an impotence.
I was gonna say, I guess they're impotent then.
Yeah, the U.S. is definitely
That
not
sounds like a
impotent
personal
when
problem.
they fought.
I mean,
Yeah, the U.S. is definitely not impotent when it wants to fight wars. It's like,
and they're a bunch of pedophiles screwing kids. So yeah, I guess they aren't.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
this opened the door to easily make all allegations of wrongdoing, convince the public the United States would involve itself in the internal affairs of other nations in what many refer as U.S. backyard. The idea of the U.S. being an international police power was popularized by Roosevelt to put an end to chronic unrest or wrongdoing in the Western Hemisphere. According to the U.S. National Archives, since then the Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine has been used to justify U.S. interventions in the Western Hemisphere. Now, Trump administration taking a step forward further with its own Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, expanding on it, and the Roosevelt corollary even more, saying that the American people, not foreign nations or globalist institutions, will always control their own destiny in our hemisphere. Like the previous assertions by Monroe and Roosevelt, Trump's message further attempts to claim ownership of Latin America and the Caribbean nations based on the notion of a domestic agenda. By the way, if a Democrat ever takes the White House, they won't reverse any of this. And the Democrat liberal commentators will defend it when the Democrats are in charge. So nothing will change. The Trump doctrine basically will continue under Gavin Newsom, God forbid, because he seems to be the leader right now.
No, please, no. Anything but that.
Remember when Kyle Kowinski thought Gavin Newsom, would be a good, I don't know, candidate for president at some point, or he said something like that.
Yeah, because Gavin Newsom was fighting Trump, in a ridiculous way. The way, that account, that Gavin Newsom media account, whatever it is sounding like Trump in their posts, which is ridiculous. I mean, they just look silly.
I remember his interesting answer on APAC.
Oh, well, Gavin Newsom's a Zionist.
Interesting.
Gavin Newsom's a Zionist, which is a requirement for the U.S. presidency now.
And also, Kyle Kowinski, he supported Jasmine Crockett as well.
Yeah, that ad where she ran, the first ad, was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, wait till you hear what they're doing on Fox News with her.
Trump, you're running against your opponent.
What does Fox News do with Crockett?
Fox News literally is like, well, she's just so black and she's just a woman, Can't we just get these women out of here? I mean, literally, that's their only fucking argument on Fox News is, well, she's a woman and she's black.
I mean, what are they going to say if Tulsi Gabbard is the nominee? Are they going to say that?
Probably, because they have nothing. I'm like, can't you just say, well, and she's a Democrat. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I was like, can't you go after her policies? No, because they agree with her policies, which is to fuck over poor people.
Yeah, while the Trump corollary didn't come in and address to Congress and instead was a meager 391 words posted on the White House website. It signals the White House intent for the region, it establishes the foreign policy directives, and shows us precisely what's motivating the administration to target Latin America in this round of using dominion over others to extract valuable resources, steal the nation's wealth, and bolster U.S. corporate interests. Which is exactly why it is. And also, it's about Marco Rubio's obsession to overthrow socialist governments in Latin America, which is why they're going after Nicolas Maduro. They're going after, why am I forgetting the Colombian president's name? Gustavo Petro, I think it is. And in Cuba, once again, trying to overthrow the communist government in Cuba. So I don't know why they bother with Cuba. It's like they failed so many times to overthrow Castro that it's like, leave it alone,
I mean, they're just fucking to fuck with it.
Yeah. In the centuries since President Monroe's doctrine of sovereignty has guarded the American continent against communism, fascism, and foreign infringement, as the 47th President of the United States, I am proudly reasserting, this is, by the way, Trump, that's why it talks like that. I'm proudly reasserting this time honored policy. Since I took office, I have aggressively pursued an America First policy of peace through strength. We restored the U.S. privilege across the access to the Panama Canal. That was not an issue, by the way. We had access to the Panama Canal the whole time. I don't know. Trump made that an issue when he first took office. That was never an issue.
Is this Trump talking?
Yeah, this is Trump, a quote from Trump on the White House website.
My cats are smarter.
We are American maritime dominance. We are disrupting non-market practices in the international supply and logistics sectors. The language is clear and intentional. Words like sovereignty and phrases such as aggressively pursued American first policy through peace through strength are meant to fire up his white Christian nationalist base. Trump has evoked a narrative that he's halting the flow of deadly drugs through Mexico, while also targeting countries with minimal drug trafficking, letting major drug traffickers go free, particularly Juan Orlando Hernandez, from the former president of Honduras, where he literally said, and this is I'm paraphrasing here, but he literally said, "I want to drown gringos with drugs." Gringos being white people, by the way. So,
why has he gone after those people? Because he likes those people. Because he's a criminal.
Juan Orlando Hernandez turned Honduras into a narco state. He was convicted in federal court in West Virginia and sentenced to 40 years in prison last year. But Trump saw Juan Orlando Hernandez is like, oh, I kind of like this guy. Let me pardon him. So he was released recently from prison.
Yeah, because we want to keep the poor people drugged up. So, hey, we can't rise up if we're all fucking high.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. Keep us, high on drugs and booze and cigarettes. And we're all addicted to something in this country, either Adderall or or caffeine or cigarettes or drugs or
I would think
alcohol.
caffeine for myself because I
Yeah,
need
we're all
my
addicted to
Mountain Dew. If
something.
I don't have my Mountain Dew Baja
Yeah.
Blast, I'm not a happy girl.
Kurt Boss says Narco Rubio, which is a good name for him.
Yes, little
Willie
Marco.
Bragg, friend of the show, Willie Bragg says capitalists are too stupid to realize they can actually make a non-exploitative pro-capitalist case for treating Cuba with respect, dignity, and dropping the fucking sanctions.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they don't
but
see that. They're too busy
yeah.
counting their Benjamins while they're fucking kids.
Let's see. Oops, pressing on the wrong tabs. Letting major drug traffickers go free through presidential pardons and supporting countries whose leaders have allegedly have ties to drug smuggling operations in Europe. However, he fails to address the real problem, drug addiction at home, which he's done nothing to address. And he won't either. You know why?
Doesn't
Because
care.
the pharmaceutical companies are the ones addicting us to drugs for the most part.
Yep, it's called pain pills, baby, and they go after
Yep.
athletes like wrestlers.
Yeah.
They don't give
Pro
a fuck if
wrestlers
a
were
wrestler
addicted.
overdoses.
Today, the WWE has cleaned up professional wrestling pretty much, but 30, 40 years ago, there was a major epidemic of drug addiction.
People
And
were wrestlers
yeah,
were their own pharmacies.
yeah. Meanwhile, what it means for Latin America is an unstable future as the U.S. attempts to continue its imperialist path over countries holding massive wealth, like Venezuela, for example, and black gold, which is oil. So Arturo here did an excellent article. Go subscribe to the Substack if you haven't already. He does great work. Um, so now let's get to Venezuela here because
Toro, ole! I'm sorry. That was from a movie, actually.
Oh yeah,
So
that woman, I don't remember her name, is leaving Venezuela.
yeah, I'm gonna get to her in a moment because I'm gonna cover Venezuela. But first, I want to talk about the piracy that the United States did recently. As everybody knows, they just seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela in latest escalation, which I call piracy because they literally took this boat, they robbed it, they took it for themselves, and then, according to Trump, he's saying that we're going to take the oil for ourselves, basically. So
Yeah, but they're
blatantly,
not going to give it to any citizen in the United States. That they'll probably sell off, by a
yeah,
couple
it'll
of
go.
$100,000 a barrel.
Yeah, that
To
we
Europe.
will not get that oil. I want to make that clear. It'll go into the international market, sold by U.S. corporations, basically.
Right. You
Like
will
it
literally
won't.
see, literally, they should put this on their boats. Like, if you're going to be a pirate, guess what? You get to do the crossbones, the skull and crossbones, baby.
Don't be a Pittsburgh pirate though.
No,
Shut
we
up.
don't want to do that. But
Little brother, don't make me
but
come over there.
Trump.
It'll take me
Yeah.
about 24 hours.
So if you want to be a pirate, you can be a U.S. military member and be a pirate perfectly fine and just rob
Arr, but you
other
gotta have
countries.
the eye patch, and you have to have
Yeah.
a wooden leg, like
U.S.
Long John
officials said.
Silver.
Yeah, U.S. officials said the Coast Guard seized the tanker and that there were no casualties in the operation. President Trump said on Wednesday that the U.S. forces have seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela, marking the latest U.S. escalation in its push towards regime change war aimed at ousting Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Quote, as you probably know, we have seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, unquote, the president said during an event at the White House. Quote, a large tanker, very large, the largest one ever seized, actually, and other things are happening, unquote. I don't know what that means. I mean, he just rambled there, but basically, it's like the largest tanker ever seized. U.S. officials told CBS News the seizure involved 10 members of the Coast Guard, 10 U.S. Marines, and Special Operations Forces. Other reports said the tanker named the Skipper departed Venezuela was on his way to Cuba when it was boarded by U.S. forces. So the two evil boogeymen, Venezuela and
Boogie,
Cuba.
boogie, boogie.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi released footage of the operation and claimed the tanker was used to transport sanctioned oil from Venezuela and Iran. She said the tanker has been another boogeyman, by the way, Iran. She said
And
the
they fuck
tanker
with
had been.
Iran. They're gonna figure. We're gonna fuck around and find out.
Yeah, she said the tanker had been sanctioned by the U.S. for multiple years. So this is actual footage of. Is mute, so it doesn't matter. That's actual footage of them taking the tanker. These are pirates. Look at this. I mean, they're coming in, guns blazing with their. This is like modern day piracy here.
Well, we don't call it that. We just call it the good guys.
Yeah, the government doesn't want to call it that, but it's piracy. It's literally open waters. It's like,
I
hey,
say
you
we
have
break
something.
that dude's leg and give him a peg leg.
Yeah, this is modern
Give
day
him one of
piracy
the eye
here.
patch.
Yeah. So there it
The other
is.
one can be called Blackbeard because he has a black beard.
They boarded the oil tanker and it's theirs now. It belongs to America, basically,
Jackie.
or more specifically, U.S. oil companies that get to sell it on the international market.
Right.
Because we won't enjoy that extra.
You will not
oil.
see a drop of that stuff.
Nope. The U.S. seizure came less than a month after the U.S. military condemned Iran for seizing a tanker off its own coast, and that claimed was smuggling fuel, an action the U.S. Central Command called illegal. But we get to do it. Iran can't do it. Iran seized a tanker off his own coast. That's illegal. We do it.
That doesn't make it right.
Yeah, we do it. We're good guys. You know, we were good. We did it for altruistic reasons automatically, even though that's literally modern day piracy what they did. And I don't know why Iran took that tanker off his own coast. I mean, we have to be consistent and say that's wrong too, but we don't know the detail. I don't know the details of that, so I'm not going to completely condemn it. Quote, Iran's use of military forces to conduct an armed boarding and seizure of a commercial vessel in international waters constitutes a blatant violation of international law, undermining freedom of navigation and the free flow of commerce. We call on Iran to articulate to the international community the legal basis for its actions, CENTCOM said. The nerve of CENTCOM to say that, meanwhile, we just did the same thing, and there's no criticism from the U.S. government or the military because they gladly did it. So the nerve. Trump was asked what would happen to the oil. He replied, "Quote, well, we'll keep it, I guess." During the first Trump administration, the U.S. stole several shipments of Iranian gas that were bound for Venezuela and sold them. Oh, so this has happened before. Trump likes piracy.
Unless it's a poor person trying to get some music off of a, online pirate, what is it, piracy website or something.
Yeah.
But then, oh my gosh, you poor people, you better not be pirates or you're going to go to jail.
Iran and Venezuela trade relationship grew at the time due to both countries facing crippling economic sanctions. They began to trade gas for gold. Proponents of regime change wars pointed to the country's vast oil resources as a reason for attack. Especially that Congresswoman, Maria Salazar. I mean, she's been obsessed with Venezuela's oil. Like, she's openly talked. Hell, forget about Saudi Arabia. No, that's the other woman. Karina, I think. Yeah.
I remember when she got owned by Max Blumenthal.
Quote, Venezuela, for those Americans who don't understand why I need to go in.
Oh my God,
Venezuela,
it's Vince's evil mustache.
For the American oil companies, it would be a field day.
It should
because
be
it would be
evil hair dye or whatever you call it.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's trying too damn hard.
Yeah, it will be more than $1 trillion in economic activity, Maria Salazar said last month. Yeah, $1 trillion for economic activity for U.S. corporations, not for any of us. So even if it was for the American people, I would be against it because it's not ours. It belongs to Venezuela. So, and anyways, I've talked about before, 20 years ago when Bush was in charge, Hugo Chavez just gave away free oil to poor Americans who were freezing to death in the winter. I remember those commercials, like they would run here in the U.S. It's like, oh, wow, Hugo Chavez doesn't sound so bad. I was a teenager then, but it sounds like a pretty good guy if he's giving away free oil to Americans here that are freezing to death in the winter.
Oh, yeah, what a bad guy. We got to take that guy out.
They literally cooed him in 2002, I think. But
shame on that dude. He should be helping rich people, not fucking poor people.
Yeah, the U.S. escalation against Venezuela came a day after the U.S. flew 2 Navy FA-18 fighters deep into the Gulf of Venezuela, marking what appeared to be the closest U.S. flight to the country's coast since the major U.S. military buildup began in the Caribbean a few months ago. Which is another thing they did recently, which they literally flew up to the coast of Venezuela like in a show of force. It seems like Trump is trying desperately to get Maduro just to leave before he has to actually order an invasion. Like, please, just go away. Look, we're doing all this. Just leave the country, please. Don't. Is you refusing to leave? Is like, shit. I mean, I don't want to actually invade, but but I want him gone too. So he's putting Trump in an impossible position. Because I don't think he really wants to invade because he would have done it by now. Because they're pretty much ready. They have everything they need to invade. So I don't know what he's waiting. I don't want him to invade. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, I'm just surprised how I'm surprised how they haven't really done anything yet at this point. So let's see here. It's here. Let
Wife's
me
boyfriend.
pull it up real quick.
Who's that?
What?
Oh, the boyfriend is BB. I was like, wait, what are you? No.
Oh,
It's Trump's boyfriend. Trump's boyfriend. He sucks off BB. Come on. Trump sucks off Bubba, which is either a horse or it's Clinton. So, I mean, pick your poison on that one. But he also sucks off BB.
yeah. Let's see. So where is it? I'll get to Honduras in a moment. No, I mean I say so many things on Twitter that it gets buried. Here we go. So let's get to the woman who's pretending to be in charge of Venezuela now. She's a new Juan Guaido, basically. Maria Corina Machado. This is a record of.
Some people have posted pics of her looking like a demon or something like that. You might have
I've seen those photos. This is the record of CIA asset and Nobel Peace Farce Prize Maria Corina Machado, who the U.S. wants to install in Miraflores to kill Venezuela's Bolivian revolution. So this is what her history here. In 2002, signed a 2002 order by Pedro Carmona to destroy the Venezuelan democracy by dissolving the National Assembly, the Supreme Court, and the Bolivian Constitution, which had been approved by popular referendum in 1999, which expanded indigenous economic and social rights. The coup against Hugo Chavez was backed by the administration of war criminal George Bush, which initially the Bush administration denied. It's like, oh, we had nothing to do with that because it failed. But they did. They backed the coup attempt. Wrote a letter to Israeli war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu begging for Israeli intervention in Venezuela. She's been going around the U.S. and Israel like begging for like a U.S. invasion in order to remove the socialist government. Like, that's treason. It's the definition of treason. Like, I don't know why Nicolas Maduro haven't arrested this woman. That's clear treason. Like, she's betraying her own government in order to get herself into power. Like, he's been far too nice to her. Supported Israel to the hilt and carrying. I don't know. To the hilt and carrying out genocide in Gaza. So she's a Zionist that supports the genocide in Gaza. Her NGO. Yeah, that's why the U.S. backs her too. Her NGO Sumate or Surrender accepted cash from the National Endowment for Democracy and USAID. The CIA cut out arms of the regime change. So her NGO took money from basically CIA cutouts, of course, and most recently promised to sell the entire country's resources to the United States in a disgusting performance of begging to be installed as the president of Venezuela under U.S. domination.
Also, notice how Bernie nor the squad have said anything about Venezuela.
No,
because they don't give a fuck.
Because he doesn't want to. He's being put in a tough spot if he says something about Venezuela.
It's
because
funny
he would
how
have to,
they hate Trump so much, but yet they agree with him on those stuff.
Yeah, they definitely agree with him.
That's the con. That's the sheep, being herded back into the Democratic Party. They don't give a fuck as long as you literally vote for Democrats who do fucking nothing and agree with Trump. But they want you to believe that they're fighting for you.
Do nothing, eat nothing, be happy, and eat sea bugs.
Yeah, you owe nothing, be happy, and eat sea bugs.
So this is Washington's new Pinochet that they want to install in the Miraflores Palace to steal Venezuela's oil resources larger than Earth, a disaster capitalist venture hurtling Venezuela, begging the U.S. to attack her own country. That's treason. I'm sorry, that's the definition of treason. So this is the letter she actually sent to Netanyahu. It's in Spanish.
I want to suck your dick. I want to suck your dick, BB. Can you meet me in the motel room at 9:00? Sign whatever this bitch's
actual
name
letter
is.
that she sent Netanyahu. So I'm not going to read it because it's wrong, but basically it's a letter begging Netanyahu to overthrow her own government, basically.
I'll suck
Let's
your dick.
see.
Please overthrow my government.
Yeah. This is what I was talking about, where she basically says forget about Saudi Arabia. Venezuela has the most oil in the world. This is, by the way, Trump Jr.'s podcast. So basically, she's trying to get his son to tell Trump that focus on don't worry about Saudi Arabia, support us.
Forget about Saudi Arabia. Forget about the Saudis. I mean, we have
They own
more
everything,
oil.
stupid
I mean,
bitch.
infinite potential. And we're going to open markets. We're going to kick off the government from the oil sector. We are going to privatize all our industry. Venezuela has huge resources: oil, gas, minerals, land, technology. And as you said before, we have a strategic location,
Come
ours
get our
from
oil.
the United
We'll
States.
suck your
So
dick
we're
for
going to do this
free.
right.
Just
We know what
forget
we have
about
to do.
those Saudis. They own everything, but just forget about them. Hey, I get free blowjobs too. I mean, I'll suck your dick. I'll suck your dick. Everybody's sucking dick today. Yeah, it's like Oprah.
Look at Trump's face.
Jesus
Look at
fucking
Trump's
Christ!
face.
I never seen such bullshit.
Look at Trump Jr.'s face. Like, I don't want to talk to this bitch. Like, why is he on my show? That's what. Look at his face. Like he.
And American companies are in, super strategic position to invest. This country, Venezuela, is going to be the brightest opportunity for investment of American companies, of good people that are going to make a lot of money. Forget about.
Don't you think that belongs to Venezuela? Oh no, I forgot.
It's like she's trying.
I forgot. America owns Venezuela somewhere in their fucking heads.
Yeah, it's like this. She's selling out her own country to U.S. to the gringos, basically the U.S. capitalists. Yeah, Maduro and Hugo Chavez are far too nice to her. I mean, allowing her to do this for 20 years, and now she's left the country now. So apparently, she knows something that we don't know. So I think an invasion may be imminent. I hope not, but
yeah.
Why did she leave the country like that?
She got bigger dicks to suck, I guess. I don't know.
She left the country, and the corporate media is claiming that she had to do it under the darkness of night. Like she literally escaped from the Venezuelan government. And I was like, I don't think Maduro even noticed that she left because he didn't do anything to stop her. So this is her daughter accepting the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of her mother.
Oh man.
Your mother is the treasonous bitch. She literally just had an open invitation. Hey, come get our oil, come get our resources. Hey, we don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about poor people. I suck dick for a living. Vote for me.
Mm-hmm. Watch this very moment as Maria Corina.
Jesus Christ.
Maria Corina Machado's daughter, Anna, collected this year's Nobel Peace Prize medal diploma on behalf of her mother. Machado was awarded 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela.
Tireless.
Nobel Peace
Where
Prize
have I heard that before?
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prize is a joke. It was since Obama. Remember when Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize when he did nothing? And
they bombed. They bombed so much that they ran out of bombs. Yeah, I remember that, and he still got the fucking Peace Prize. They literally bombed so many people they ran out of bombs, and he still got a motherfucking Peace Prize.
What? I was African American. I was treated a white old man, and people were supposed to love me, but they didn't. I don't know why.
This young lady here is allegedly Venezuelan, but I guarantee you she doesn't speak a word of Spanish because she's been educated here in the U.S. So she looks like a white woman. She doesn't look like somebody like the Venezuelan people would even know who she is. Like
talking about the guy in the
gringo,
suit, or the woman in the suit. I don't discriminate. I don't discriminate. Hey, if he wants to be a flat-haired bitch, go for it.
Yeah, this is her daughter I'm talking
Ms.
about.
Ana Corina Sosa Machado, the daughter of the Nobel Peace Prize laureate for 2025, to step forward to receive the diploma and the gold medal on behalf of her mother, Miss Maria Corina Machado.
So gross.
Hold your applause. Hold your applause.
We suck dick, yay!
Oh,
she sucked dick! Woohoo!
I don't know.
Fuck you, bitch.
This is gross.
You're such a fucking joke.
Django Unchained.
That's not even in English.
Go
I think
watch
that's
that
in,
movie,
like,
by the way.
Dutch or
Django
something.
Unchained, one of the best movies ever.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I love that. So yeah, so that's her accepting the prize.
No, I want to
I
hear
mean,
her
it's
though. Because you said she probably doesn't speak Spanish. I want to.
no, yeah, she talks, but not there. I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
think I have that video. Here it is. Let me
She was
pull it
so
up.
overcome with the fact that she had cum in her mouth, she could not speak. What? It may be true.
So this is the video, but let me read this first. The daughter of CIA asset Maria Corina Machado is now publicly mourning and romanticizing Venezuela before Hugo Chavez, which, by the way, she was not alive for. Right, so because she looks pretty young. So, the Venezuela she cries for is the Venezuela that only a small minority enjoyed wealth and
Snow,
opulence.
we do. Hey, play that clip of me saying "suck a dick."
Yeah, I have that there in the soundboard. It's just I have to find it because so many.
You can
Suck a
suck
dick.
my fucking dick.
Do it again, Angel.
Suck a dick.
There you go. There you go, Snow.
Imagine if
Poverty
Stephanie McMahon said that on air.
Poverty before Hugo Chavez came to power was at 70.8% in 1996. So 70% of the population of Venezuela was poor. It was reduced to 21% by 2010. So the socialist policies of Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro were a success. They lowered poverty by like 50%. Extreme poverty was at 40% in 1996 and was reduced by 7.3%. I'm sorry, it was reduced to 7.3% 2010 by Chavez. Then came U.S. economic warfare against Venezuela.
Kurt, only
Maria
if I
Corina-
would do my husband. Only if I would suck my husband's dick. That would be the witchy dick sucking channel, and that would not be for YouTube.
Yeah, that obviously wouldn't be. Maria Corina Machado and her family want to defeat the Bolivarian Revolution, which is under siege. So a small parasitic elite can enjoy wealth and opulence again as the natural resources of our country are plundered by the USA. So this is actually her daughter here giving the acceptance speech for her mom.
Generation was born in corruption.
I want you to see her perfect English because she was not educated in Venezuela, I guarantee you. She was educated here in the U.S.
My generation was born in a vibrant democracy, and
Bullshit.
we took it for granted.
That's not real.
We assumed freedom was as permanent as the air we breathe.
I don't think she speaks Spanish. I'd be surprised if she speaks any Spanish.
You sure?
We cherished our
Witchy
rights,
sucking dick.
but we forgot
Only
our
fans.
duties. I
Only
was
my
raised
husbands,
by a
only my
father
husbands.
whose life's work, building, creating, serving, taught me that loving a country meant assuming responsibility for its future. By the time we recognized how fragile our institutions had become, a man who had once led a military coup to overthrow
right in the
democracy was elected president. Many
why
thought
she's crying.
charisma could
Oh, got
substitute
me
the
in the
rule of
eyes.
law.
Money shot, money shot, money shot.
Our institutions had become. A man who had once led a military coup.
She's referring to Chavez, by the way. I mean, led a military coup in the early 90s, an attempted coup.
To overthrow democracy was the
the government sucked. The government sucked. That's why he's trying to overthrow it. He failed, but eventually he was elected in 1999. Imagine.
Or as Vince McMahon would say, democracy sucks.
Yeah, so in 1992, he tried
mustache or something. Did he go out of the comments already?
Maybe he's
I guess he was too busy talking to Snow in his office.
He was elected. He was elected in 1999. So it wasn't like he could. She's like suggesting that he's like kind of like Trump in the sense that he allegedly did a coup in 2020, which he didn't, and then he was reelected president again in 2024. So it's like, hey, Chavez and Trump has an interesting connection. If you believe that 2020 was a coup, which it wasn't.
elected president. Many thought charisma could substitute the rule of law. From 1991 onward, the regime dismantled our democracy, violating the Constitution.
Hold on, Chavez was elected in 1999, and he did a new constitution which the people voted for, and it wasn't done by the elite. People voted for it, and they don't like that constitution. That's why They're definitely trying to get rid of it.
falsifying our history, corrupting the military, purging independent judges, censoring the press, manipulating elections, persecuting dissent, and ravaging our extraordinary biodiversity.
Yeah, none of that's real, by the way.
Yeah,
So
but enough about America. Let's talk about Venezuela.
yeah, just making stuff up there. There you go. That was Maria Corina Machado's daughter.
Why does she look like she is always has like a dick in her mouth? I mean, seriously, she looks like she has a dick in her mouth all the time.
Let's go to where is it?
You guys, you audience, the audience literally just likes when I say suck a dick. They like when I say that. I don't know why.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Let's see. Before we get to the next story, we're at, let me see how many likes we're at on YouTube. We're at 20. That's good. That's good. Try to get to. I'm not sure we're getting to 40, but let's try to get to 30 at least this week.
Yeah. Remember, if we get up to 40 likes, and I know Snow is still in the comment section. Remember, 40 likes and Mrs. Witchy goes topless.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants a piece of Mrs. Witchy, all right?
And also hot, lesbian, action.
Do you see any lesbians around here? Do you see any lesbians around here? I see 2 dicks and a pussy. Come on. I know I don't do threesomes.
Oh wait, here we go.
What I'm so pissed about is that we're in December and yet it's still fucking hot here in LA. I don't fucking understand.
You want to switch?
Oh wow.
No,
it's supposed to snow on you.
Yeah,
I don't want to live in Pittsburgh. Sorry.
I don't live in Pittsburgh. I'm not from Pittsburgh.
Where do you live right now?
South Central PA. The Lancaster
wherever
County
you live,
area.
I'm sorry, I don't want to live there.
I live in Lancaster County, which has a lot of Amish around.
Oh.
I mean, you never saw Witness? That took place in Lancaster County, y'all.
I remember when Kurt Metzger when he saw Mike.
I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Who's the Amish?
Yeah. Well, right. So yeah, I live with a lot of Amish around me. If Vicky is in the chat, I don't know if she is or not, but anyway, if Vicky was in the chat, she is from Akron. So Akron is very close to where I live. In Lancaster County. So I don't want to give the specific city because I don't need people like stalking me and shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, hey, suck a dick. Oh shit. Just go. This go.
Is Seth Breed Jacqueline's host.
Yeah, this is the guy that I was referring to. Honduras issues arrest warrant for ex-president Hernandez
sucking
after
a dick
U.S.
would keep her fucking quiet for a while.
So I want to get rid of all the narco traffickers or whatever it is.
But he releases.
Okay, Vicky, you are in the chat. Okay, yeah. So Vicky is in the chat. She knows about Akron.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever want to switch, little brother, we're supposed to get 2 inches of snow on Sunday. So yeah. So you come and switch with me.
Well, I mean, New York is definitely much cooler. I wouldn't.
I didn't say New York. New York.
Yeah.
I said New York. I said New York.
Okay.
Honduras.
Are you supposed to get snow, Angel?
Sunday.
Yeah. Do you know how many inches?
No. I mean, I saw it in the weather report, but I don't know how many inches.
Yeah, we're supposed to get 1 to 2.
Yeah, probably around there. It doesn't snow much in this part of New Jersey, so
there we go. Fact checking Trump's Pennsylvania speech. I told you, Trump, to stay out of my state, motherfucker.
I hate those fact checking things. Honduras' top prosecutor has issued international arrest warrant for former President Juan Orlando Hernandez and testifying legal.
Who does that? Doesn't that? Why does that name sound familiar, Angel?
I do, yeah. Intensifying illegal and political turmoil just days after the ex-leader walked free from the United States prison.
Yeah, but Attorney General, who I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Attorney General Joel Antonio Zelaya announced the move on Monday in a post on X, saying that he instructed the Agencia Técnica de Investigación Criminal, the main investigation body of the public prosecutor's office.
You sound just like my dad. I mean, no offense. My dad's like, "Oh, I get to use my new snowblower." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" For 2 inches of snow? All right. Just
Yeah,
let him
an
do it. Let him
urge.
do it.
Is he like,
Yeah, and
"Get the communists off my lawn"?
No, that extreme, but just Snow was like, "Oh, I got a new snowblower today." I was like, "Oh Jesus!" He sounded just like my dad. I get to use
former
my new snowblower.
to execute international arrest warrant against the former president Juan Orlando Hernandez. So this is in what I just said in Spanish. Zelaya's announcement comes as Hernandez was released from a
Not true,
45
Snow. You
year.
are my work husband, technically. You and Angel are my work husband. Kit is my work husband. I have a little brother, which is Alex, and a big brother, which is Dave.
Yeah, we got to get Dave back on the show because he just came back from vacation. Zelaya's announcement comes that Hernandez was released from a 45-year prison sentence in the U.S. after President Donald Trump pardoned him. Hernandez's wife, who insists he's innocent, said he would not return to Honduras immediately due to safety concerns, and he's currently in a quote-unquote safe place in the U.S. Hernandez was extradited to the U.S. in 2022, where New York prosecutors accused him of a 3 drug and weapon-related offenses and alleged that he used his presidency to transform Honduras into a narco state, which is what he did.
No,
U.S.
that's
prosecutors.
just so gross.
Oh wow! U.S. prosecutors later secured a
You would
conviction,
have to
saying
be a
Hernandez
fetus to be my dad.
saying Hernandez played a central role in moving cocaine through Honduras and onward to the United States. He was handed a 45-year prison sentence in the back of one of the largest and most violent drug trafficking conspiracies in the world, according to prosecutors. Same time, Hernandez had been at the center of investigations in his country that have targeted current and former politicians suspected of diverted public money. In 2023, alongside several former officials, he was charged in involvement in an alleged misappropriation of more than $12 million in state funds for his political campaign. So he's using taxpayer money for his campaign.
What are you?
Trump-
Are you the Elder Scrolls, Snow?
Snow, how old are you? Seriously, be honest. How old are you? Because I guarantee you can't be much older than me and Angel.
Yeah, Trump's decision to pardon Hernandez came as he urged Hondurans to rally behind presidential candidate Nasri Tito Asforia, a member of Hernandez's right-wing National Party, the country's November 30th presidential election. Quote, I will be granting a full and complete pardon to former President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who have been, according to many people that I greatly respect, treated very harshly and unfairly, Trump wrote in a social media post last week. What's funny is Trump basically said he didn't know much about Juan Orlando Hernandez, but he pardoned him because people in administration said he was a good guy. That's it? That's your standard? Like, oh, well, people in administration said he was a good guy and unfairly treated. So Trump, okay, I'll just pardon him.
So, Snow, you had babies when you were a year old? What the fuck? That's a little young to be having babies. Though I agree that everyone should have babies, even Angel.
With 97% of the ballots counted, Asfora held 40.52% of the vote, remaining ahead of centrist rival Salvador Nasralla by roughly 42,100 votes. The tally had been temporarily halted on Friday with 88% of the ballots processed, according to the National Electoral Council. About 16% of the tally sheets contained irregularities requiring further review, an issue attributed to the company managing the voting count system. International observers have urged authorities to speed up the counting process and take steps to reassure voters of its integrity. So we'll get to the actual election thing in a moment here. Right now, in fact.
So, something I want to mention. So, who's one of the guys running against Richie Torres? Is it Michael Blake? Is that his name? American? Is that
I don't know. I don't remember right now.
So we all know that he supports AIPAC, even though he claims he doesn't support it anymore, but he does support AIPAC.
Oh,
Savvy
those Zionists.
posted that there's another person running against Richie Torres, a female named Amanda Septimo. I guess that's how you pronounce it.
Oh, okay.
She also supports AIPAC. So we got 2 AIPAC candidates running against Richie Torres, who's also AIPAC.
We have
Richie
2
Torres
dick-sucking candidates in the running, huh?
So why bother running against him if Richie Torres is like the main AIPAC defender in Congress, and he gets a shit ton of money from them too. So I don't understand why they're in the race. But
give me $30,000, I'll be an AIPAC supporter too.
Honduran election
Or
authorities
is it
resumed.
APAC or is it IPAC? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Like he don't fucking know. He takes it in the ass every fucking day from APAC.
They was we talked about it before, but David Paxman's brother worked for an organization connected to APAC, and he pretends he doesn't know what APAC is.
Hell, he
It's
just attended this Jewish Israel conference recently, and New York or something. I think even Rivera was there, and all the other conservatives. I mean, he was there as well, so he doesn't have a problem with conservatives.
Yeah, he does.
Jewish.
Yeah, he loves APAC. Honduran election authorities resumed vote tallies amid allegations of fraud. Election officials in Honduras released updated voting results from the November 30th election following a 3-day. Well, can you stall for me and say something?
Yeah. Basically, Honduras has released updated voting records or results from the country's November 30th election, following a 3-day pause in tallies amid allegations of fraud and inconsistencies, or dick sucking, basically.
Yeah, with 89%, thank you, of the ballots tallied on Monday, a conservative candidate, Nastria Espuria, held a slim lead over centrist contender Salvador Nasralla. Richie Moncada, leftist candidate governing Libre Party, is trailing in third place
That
with
looks like
19.8%.
Rixie.
Yeah, Rick. I think
Rixie, yeah, that's what it.
I
said Ricky, and wait.
No, not that.
After
you don't have to suck a dick.
after
What's wrong with
necessary technical action.
Hey, you said I was too quiet, little
now
brother.
being
Now
updated.
Yeah, but I
I'm
didn't
not
say-
loud.
But I didn't say that.
Other than the National Electoral Council said in a social media post. Allegations of fraud had dominated the lead up to the election, and statements from the United States President Donald Trump had likely stirred controversy. In the final days of the election, Trump indicated that he may not be able to work with anyone but Aspuria. That in turn led to an outcry from other candidates who accused the U.S. leader of election meddling. Which is what he definitely did. The electoral body stated about 14% of the tally sheets showed inconsistencies and would be reviewed. Candidates must stay alert where applicable, file the corresponding challenges in accordance to the law. Excuse me.
The only dick I'm sucking is my husband's. Sorry. Not sorry. Conveniently, his name is Kurt, too.
Following a coup in 2009, Honduras experienced a period of repression and disputed elections that many left skeptical about the legitimacy of the electoral process. Security forces killed at least 16 people when they opened fire on protesters following a contested vote in 2017, with about 30 killed across the protests across the country. The prolonged vote counting has fueled concerns that similar clashes might erupt. The opposition also criticized Trump's stated preference for Asfuria as a form of interference, giving his threat that the U.S. would be withdrawn if he did not win. Trump had previously written, if Asfuria doesn't win, the United States will not be throwing good money after bad. Moncada, the
good
Libre
money
candidate,
after bad rubbish, huh?
said that she will not recognize the results that took place under interference and corrosion.
Why do they have masks on? Why do you have masks on? It looks like a condom for your face, you dumb fuck.
Accusation of impropriety are widespread with conservative
Maybe
members
they
of the
don't
CNE
like to
panel
suck dick. Maybe that's why they have the mask on.
accusing a Libre member of intimidation. Nasrallah said that the corrupt ones are holding up the counting process. Rights groups and civil society organizations have called for patience and transparency, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, basically, Honduras is once again in a controversial election, and most likely is going to lead to some sort of violence, most likely.
That's what they want, isn't it? Third world countries in chaos, and so we can go overthrow them and take all their resources.
So, eventually... where is it? Hold on. Not that one.
Angel, when are you moving again?
Probably some point next year, because it won't happen now. But so where is it? No, that's all. I don't want that. Yeah. So in other words, Honduras is kind of screwed here because they're gonna have to they're gonna have to go through this and figure out what's gonna happen. Because if not, then they're gonna fall into violence again, and I wouldn't be surprised if the military ends up cooing the government again, and taking power. They've done this before in Honduras. So this is the first mention of the Cartel of the Suns, or the Cartel de los Soles, was born. The CIA created it to traffic drugs into the U.S. and has never existed
Of course, it
since.
was the.
Of course, it's the CIA. They're
Was
just a bunch of they're a bunch
this
of
is
coked up pedophiles.
this is the entire basis of Trump narco terror designation. So this is literally the CIA basically created this in the early '90s in order to traffic drugs into the U.S. and they admitted it in the New York Times. November 19, 1993, a Central Intelligence Agency anti-drug program in Venezuela shipped a ton of nearly pure cocaine to the United States in 1990. Government officials said today. No criminal charges have been brought in the matter, of course not, which officials said appeared to have been a serious accident rather than intentional conspiracy. So they claimed it was an accident. Oh, we accidentally trafficked a ton of cocaine into the U.S. It wasn't on purpose. We did it by accident. How stupid do
My ass
they
cheek.
think we
That's
are?
why a lot of the wrestlers were on doing cocaine in the
Yeah.
80s.
So
Hello.
this
But
is
not because
where
it's soulless or whatever the hell they're called.
this part of the article, because it continues on. But yeah, this is where the part. So allegedly, it was an anti-drug unit at the CIA, but it turns out they trafficked a ton of cocaine to the U.S. How the hell did that happen? Anti-drug unit trafficking cocaine. So nobody should be surprised there. Let's see. Let's get to Russia real quick. I have something here.
Russia. You can't do that.
Russia.
No, that's the wrong article, and I didn't even share my screen. Anyways, hold on. Here it is. Me didn't bother sharing my screen. Let's see.
Everybody hit that like button or no sucky dick for you.
Yeah.
How many is that right now?
I don't know. Kieran's not here. Usually Kieran keeps count.
Oops.
Like 20, I think.
Did it crash? Hold on. I'm still here, right? You hear me?
I hear you and see you.
Okay. Seems like my stream over there at Substack crashed, but it's back. Let's see. Zelensky rules out ceding territory for peace deal. The Ukrainian leader made the comments after meeting with the leaders of UK, France, Germany, and London. By the way, that meeting was mental masturbation because they have no say. They have no say in any peace deal because the Europeans are puppets, and so is Ukraine. They have zero say. So these are all basically the petulant children of the U.S. empire complaining that the U.S. empire is trying to do peace with Russia. So that's all it is. They have no say.
I
Especially
saw
Zelensky.
recently that it was either Jimmy Dore or Due Distance that made a video that New York Times finally admitted the corruption of Ukraine. So
yeah, I saw that. It's a recent article they put out. It's like that right there. You can tell that the U.S. empire is waning on the Ukraine war because there's no way the New York Times writes that article 3 years ago.
yeah, it's just like when Biden was out, they started writing articles about corruption.
And at 70 likes, if we get 70 likes, Snow and I have to actually wrestle each other in a mud wrestling.
Let me see how many likes we have. So we're still at 20 likes. So that's if you haven't liked, make sure you do. Russia, quote, Russia is insisting we give up territories, but we don't want to cede anything. Zelensky told reporters after meeting with the leaders of UK, France, Germany, and London. Yeah, here's the thing: you have no say. If the U.S. and Russians agree to give territory to the Russians, you have to take it. Doesn't matter what your constitution says. Doesn't matter what you say because you're a puppet ultimately. So
as Trump told him, you don't have the cards. You don't have the cards.
Yeah, we have.
You wish no.
Quote: we have no legal right to do so.
I'll see you in the garden. Okay.
Our constitution and international law. We don't have any moral right either. Zelensky added. Again, you have no say. You'll give up land and you'll like it. If you don't, You know, I'd be surprised it doesn't last much longer. Either he'll be cooed or that'll happen to him.
I
The
mean, he's
initial
out
U.S.
his usefulness
Yeah,
because
to the empire. Yeah,
to the empire because now he's just a liability.
yeah,
Hey,
he's definitely a liability.
that's a nice body there, Zelensky or Lewinsky. Sorry, Zelensky. Be ashamed if something happened to it. Hey, that's a nice wife there you got.
Yeah, the initial U.S. drafted peace proposal that was leaked to the media called for Ukraine to cede the remaining territorial controls to the Donbass region, where Russian forces continue to make gains. President Trump has previously said it's better to give up the area now than lose tens of thousands of troops attempting to defend it. It's not wrong, but again, Trump has gone back and forth on this, depending of his mood. So eventually, that land that over the next couple months might be gotten by Russia anyways. Trump said late last month. Do you want to fight and lose at 50, 60,000 people, or do you want something now? To do something now. The Ukrainians would rather lose every single citizen than to actually do peace. It's clear. Even Europe is like, and we talked about this last week, like they have no interest in peace either. Russia has made it clear it's willing to continue the war in Ukraine if it doesn't agree to its territorial demands. The other major sticking point in negotiations was the idea of security guarantees, as Ukraine wants a NATO-style guarantee from the U.S., something Russia won't go for. Why would they? I mean, they don't. Why would? Especially if Trump is out of office and the next president's a Democrat, they'll definitely try to attack Russia.
Kurt, you better be talking to your girlfriend or wife about that one.
There's one question I and all Ukrainians want to get an answer to. If Russia again starts a war, what would our partners do? As long as Ukraine doesn't insist to be part of NATO, I don't think the Russians will attack you again. So I don't think I have anything to worry about. Before the meeting with Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. By the way, all those leaders are extremely unpopular. Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron's at 15% last time I saw, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz is like at 30%. So all of them are deeply unpopular. But
is Netanyahu the lowest?
I haven't seen poll numbers on Netanyahu, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is. Starmer and Macron have been pushing for NATO troop deployment to a post-war Europe, an idea that Moscow has repeatedly rejected. European leaders also backed Zelensky's other positions and released a counter proposal that removed the territorial concessions and commitments that would prevent Ukraine from joining NATO, which is the only reason why they invaded to begin with. If Biden never opened his mouth and saying Ukraine joined NATO, none of this would have happened. This war would have never happened. But the Russians were scared, as they should be, because every single state that used to be a part of the Soviet bloc joined NATO. The only one that hasn't is Ukraine. Where is it? I clicked away from it. Hold on. So I want to show this. I showed this video before, but I have it again. It's relevant because it gets the point that I'm making here. Where is it? Here it is. I'm sure you guys have seen this video before, not necessarily on the show, but on the internet. So this account says, once the Soviet Union collapsed, NATO had no real justification to exist. After all, the West had just won the Cold War. Yet instead of shutting it down, Western leaders chose to inflate it even more, clinging to expansion for the sake of power and self-serving bureaucracy that didn't know when to quit. As a former Singaporean foreign minister, George Yu said back at the Foreign Correspondents Club in Hong Kong a few years back, do you know when to stop? The answer is no. So this is NATO in 1986. So the blue countries are NATO members.
That was the year we were born.
Yeah. And eventually, don't need the music. Look at that. Slowly but surely, the blue countries are part of NATO.
Yeah.
Look at that. NATO.
And they came this close to their border. And you expected the Russians not to get mad.
Yeah. So here, again, look at this. They're all all the former Soviet bloc are either members of NATO or NATO adjacent, except for Ukraine. So Ukraine is blue there. I don't know why it shouldn't be. But
and all the people in the chat, they're not focusing on the video. Or not focusing on.
I've noticed that. It's like I'm fine with it. It's called.
I know.
It's called engagement. So it's called engagement. So it's good for the stream. But still,
like I said, Oh, sorry. So what I'm saying is, like, all the blue here, as you can tell. But really, is Ukraine really in NATO though? I mean, didn't they?
No.
Aren't they playing this fucking game? Like, oh, are they or aren't they? Should we suck the dick or should we not suck the dick? I mean, your fucking minds.
Ukraine it wants to join NATO, but that's why the Russians invaded from the word jump. Because every single country here, if you go here, whoops, hold on, there we go. Every single country here, which used to be the Soviet bloc, so it was Belarus, Poland, East Germany here, from here, it's all part of the Soviet bloc. And, now that's all gone and they're all pretty much joined NATO except for Ukraine and Belarus. So, yeah, here we go.
I mean, it's
also,
do I suck the dick or not suck the dick? That is the question.
So this is disingenuous, I think. It says, why no elections in Ukraine? Meanwhile, it shows 25 years, one man. So pretty much it's Putin ruling Russia for 25 years.
But is it because Putin's being elected by the people? You fucking
yeah. I mean, literally, they literally elected him in that long.
Yeah. So look at this. Oh, you see, we have different presidents every few years. And meanwhile, Russia's been run by one man for 25 years.
Now you got a comedian.
Yeah. And was naked, in one of the music videos.
Oh.
So in 2012,
with that little dick flopping in the wind. What the fuck?
In 2012, Putin handed over power to Medvedev. He won the election, and Putin became prime minister, which is their equivalent to vice president. But we all knew Putin was still in charge. But he handed briefly power over to Medvedev, so his top ally.
Jackie, we knew what you meant.
I also wanted, where is it, to show this, because this is why I think Putin's popular in Russia, but I saved so many things here that.
Well, here's really the real reason why there's no elections in Ukraine. That's because Zelensky is in power. If you vote him out, guess what? No more Russian proxy war.
Yeah.
Because how dare them poor people have a say?
Like, I saved so much crap here that that's not it either.
Sick ducking is big. What? Sick ducking.
No, that's not it either. Where is it? Like, that's not it either. That's the right video I'm looking for.
Duck sucking. That must be a new sport. Duck sucking.
Here it is.
Where exactly do you suck on the duck? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so this is I think why Putin's popular here. When Russia faced an oligarch crisis, Putin showed the world how a state deals with corporate blackmail. In 2009, a major factory in Russia stopped paying its workers. The owner was a billionaire oligarch, Oleg Diopryskia, one of the most powerful businessmen in the country. Putin arrived at the factory live on national TV. He didn't negotiate behind closed doors. He didn't plead. He didn't tolerate excuses. He demanded that Diopryskia sign an agreement on the spot, guaranteeing payment to every worker. Diopryskia, visually shaken, signed it. As he tried to walk away with the pen, Putin looked at him and said, "Give me my pen back." Symbolic moment that echoed across Russia. And the message carved in stone: no corporation, no oligarch is bigger than the state. This is the actual video of it. So, this is why I think he's popular with the people.
Vladimir Putin strode into town.
Почему раньше здесь не было людей, которые способны были принимать решения? Почему здесь-то забегали все как тараканы перед самым моим приездом?
Unlike Medvedev, Putin confronted the factory owners.
Считаю, что вы сделали заложниками своих амбиций, непрофессионализма, а может быть просто и тривиальной жадности. Тысячи людей. Это абсолютно недопустимо. Если собственники договориться между собой не смогут, то единый комплекс все равно будет восстановлен. В том или в другом виде, то это будет сделано без вас.
He demanded the owners, including billionaire Oleg Deripaska, sign an undertaking to restart the factories.
Вы подписали этот договор?
Да.
Олег Владимирович подписал? Что я не вижу вашей подписи? Пишите.
I don't see your signature. Here, sign it. Look how scared he is. Oh, yes, sir. I'll sign it immediately.
Can I suck your dick or stick your dick? Stick your dick. Can I suck your dick, sir?
There you go.
I'll stick to that.
Give me back my pen.
Classic Putin.
Yeah, classic Putin for making billionaires pay their workers. I know, what a very evil man.
All right, imagine a U.S. president ever doing that.
Like Putin again?
Like, imagine a U.S. president ever doing that to, like, Starbucks. Starbucks, it's a long strike. The workers are striking at Starbucks, trying to get equal pay. Imagine U.S. president going to the Starbucks CEO and saying, immediately, you better put these people back to work and give them exactly what they want, or else. That never would happen. Ever.
And that rich guy was like, God damn it, I gotta get my dick suckers, and I gotta get
He's
this
scared
Putin.
to death.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he didn't want to pay poor people because, again, be damned, you know?
Remember when Biden said, for God's sakes, this man cannot remain in power.
Exactly.
Who cannot
How dare
remain
you
in
help
power?
poor people? Don't you know us rich people? Us rich people are literally, we're just hanging on by a thread. What will anyone think of the rich people?
Think of the children.
Think of the rich children who don't have to fucking work a day in their lives. And they can sit around and suck dick.
We'll do this and then we'll wrap up. It's already 9:15, but I wanted to go to this because it's, again, Latin America, and this is exactly what Trump wants to do. And Marco Rubio, too, to be fair. I don't want to, avoid him. They want their own Pinochet. This day in 2006, former U.S. UK.
I'm asking for a friend.
Fascist dictator Augusto Pinochet died from a heart attack in 2006. In 1973, General Augusto Pinochet, backed by the CIA, launched a coup against Chile's democratically elected socialist President Salvador Allende after a protracted U.S. campaign to sabotage and impoverish the Chilean people. President Nixon ordered the CIA to make the economy scream in Chile to prevent Allende from coming to power or to unseat him. Allende refused to surrender to Pinochet's troops and died defending the presidential palace. That's the way.
Oh God, Sean.
That's the way I think that a leader should go if they are going to die ending fascism. Pinochet's neoliberal economic policies, designed by the Chicago boy economists, would prove to be utterly disastrous, benefiting only the elite class and those tied to Western corporations. Before Pinochet's fascist dictatorship, Chile had a poverty rate between 17 and 20%. In 1970, during the 1980s, under Pinochet shock therapy, poverty doubled to 45 to 50% of the population. The extreme poverty rate tripled. Between 1975 and 1982, unemployment soared to record levels as high as 30%. That's the depression, by the way, because the U.S. had around that unemployment in the 30s. Wages collapsed by 40%, plunging millions into poverty, and entire sectors were wiped out by import competition. The early years of Pinochet's neoliberalism produced a deeper depression than the 1929 financial crash for Chile. The hypocrisy and failure of neoliberalism was most evident in 1982, when Pinochet's privatization and free market extremism crashed the economy so badly the country lost 15% of its GDP in a single year. The major banks subsequently collapsed and the government was forced to nationalize the debt. That's an irony because they were against that. And then they had to nationalize the debt in order to stave off even worse situation. The scale of the disaster of Pinochet's neoliberal fascist dictatorship still haunts Chile to this day. The disastrous privatization of education by Pinochet has created a class-based education system that persists to this day. In other words, the only people going to school are rich kids, not the poor in Chile.
And that's how it will be here too.
Yeah.
Poor kids will not go to school. Only rich kids will go to school. Then you will own nothing, be happy, eat bugs, and you'll have to suck a dick to go to school.
That's why I wanted to cover this, because Trump is kind of doing the same thing by ending the Department of Education, shutting it down. Ironically, with the assistance of Linda McMahon, who's the education secretary. So yeah, they're shutting down the Department of Education, which funds most of the special education, for kids that have autism and have mental disabilities and stuff.
Like my son.
So they're trying to end that.
Like Marco Rubio doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly.
No, he definitely knows what he's. Yeah, you're right. He's definitely know what he's doing.
Yeah, they all know what they're doing. Like I said, just because they don't.
got that reference right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, what they do over there, they will do over here. So again, you will have to literally be a rich person, and you can go to school. Your kids can go to school. If you're a poor person, get back to work, you fucking lackey.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring. I'm sure they're gonna bring those sweat things back so that kids get maimed, they get mangled, they get fucking stuck in machines, and they die. They don't give a fuck about your kid. They just want to fuck them.
But remember, poor kids are just as bright, just as talented as white kids.
Her boss says
both her kids went to private schools.
Milton Friedman got the Nobel for economics and dick sucking. Yeah, he did get the Nobel economic laureate. He's the one that created neoliberalism, which we still live under to this day. Let's see. The poor families have no other option but to send their children to underfunded municipal schools, which is what's happening here in the U.S. The public education system is severely underfunded, and they're trying to shut it down to the Department of Education. Yep. By that shutdown, the same class-based horror is seen as Chile's healthcare, where the rich has access to high-quality healthcare and the best hospitals, while Chile's poor are nowhere to go apart from the overcrowded public hospitals.
That's right. That's exactly what's happened here too.
Yeah. The privatized pension system guarantees large profits for private administrators, while the elderly receive extremely low pensions and live in poverty, which is what George Bush wanted to do with Social Security. In 2006 or 7, he tried to privatize Social Security, which of course didn't work, didn't pass, but he tried to. So
now watch my truck.
Chile is also the only country on earth with fully privatized water. Even basic necessities such as this is not spared from the horror of privatization. Now Chile's water companies are majority owned by French companies. Group Luciec, Chile's wealthiest business family, owns significant equity. Even Chile's lakes, rivers, groundwater, and aquifers were divided into tradable private property rights in 1981, separate from land ownership. Now the UK, Anglo-American, and Australian BHP control significant water rights in the country. And if it's American, you know what they're doing. They're extracting that water, sending it back to the U.S. This fascist operation to loot Chile was imposed to extreme violence. Pinochet's fascist dictatorship would see the deaths and imprisonments or disappearances over 40,000 people. By the way, U.S. is also disappearing immigrants, too. We don't know where at least a few thousand people ended up. So they could be in Guantanamo for all we know. It just disappeared like a few thousand immigrants. The CIA-backed coup in Chile was a part of establishing Operation Condor, a plan to impose a de facto continent-wide fascism in Latin America to crush socialist, communist, and workers' movements. Operation Condor is estimated to be responsible for 60,000 to 80,000 deaths in Latin America. The disaster that Chile has gone through, it still suffers the effect was designed in length and breadth by the United States. Pinochet's barbaric, disastrous rule and his equally barbaric, disastrous legacy of economic failure and extreme fascist violence serves as a historical and contemporary reminder of the consequences of developing a nation falling under Washington's iron fist. And a lot of this is happening in the U.S. now. So, as you say, Witchy, what they'll do over there, then they'll do it here. So,
exactly.
They're experimenting in Chile and Latin America, stuff they want to do here. And Trump is doing it now with the destruction of the Department of Education and our public schools being significantly underfunded, because even though Trump can say,
Marilyn Monroe didn't have a doctorate. What? Did I miss something?
Yeah. Well, like I said before, Linda McMahon needs to be tombstoned by Canaan.
That didn't work the first time. Now, what we got to do is literally stand up to these rich people and say, we ain't going to take this shit no more. I am not going to have my child not be educated because a bunch of fucking rich people would rather fuck him or try to molest him than give him an education. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I'm the only one here who has a child in the educational system. And literally, every day they're making it harder and harder for him to get a great education. And still, I mean, he is predominantly very well educated in math because he's been doing like 5th grade math since he was in kindergarten. But that defeats the point of, well, they may say tomorrow, oh, well, sorry, we're not going to educate any of you poor kids. Sucks to be you. Have a good day. No, go fuck yourself. Suck a dick. I don't care. You're going to educate my son. I don't give a fuck.
Yep. So as before we go, as Bender says,
universe is doomed.
I mean, what else can you say? I really got to go, guys. So
yeah, we're gonna wrap up now. So thanks everybody for watching this. Make sure you like and subscribe. Pro Wrestling Talk will be Sunday at 7 because me and Witch should be watching John Cena's final.
Or 80 Eastern.
8, yeah. John Cena's final match.
5.
That's it. That's local time over there.
Did I check? Yeah, but did I miss something? I was like 5 o'clock. I'll just be like getting home and getting in the shower. What?
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll be reviewing that Sunday. Because we're watching.
We'll do it this time.
Oh, my throat was gone on Sunday. That's why I couldn't do the show. I mean, I nearly lost my voice here earlier in the show. So it's like that's why
your connection was much better today, but you should still download videos just in case.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm considering getting one of those Wi-Fi amplifiers because my router is over there.
Oh.
It's in the other room, the living room. So I'm here.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Suck a dick, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so we'll be wrapping up now. Thank you everybody for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a nice weekend, everybody.